or we shall start.
Good afternoon. Hello and welcome to today's Data Science Job Ready Counseling session. Thank you for taking time out. Myself, Farzana, I head the placement services at Datamites. Quick intro about Datamites. Datamites is a data science and AI institute with a global footprint of training more than 20,000 learners. Today, we have Mr. Ashok Veda, founder and CEO at Rubix, with us. He has an extensive experience of nearly 2 decades in the field of analytics and data science. He has mentored more than 15,000 aspirants in the field of data science and AI. He has conducted numerous workshops for aspirants across the industries with various experience levels from beginners, working professional to C-level executives. Today, he is going to present guidance, tips to get data science job ready. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type into the question box or raise your hand and we will allow you to speak. If you have logged in from YouTube, kindly leave your questions in the comment section. We will take these questions after the presentation. Ashok sir, to speak on.
Okay, so this is how I look today. Very good afternoon to everyone. Please confirm if my voice is clear, loud, and you can see my screen. And you can just ping it on the chat box. All right, so attendees can also ping it to all the other attendees. So, yep, thank you. Okay, today we have how do you get job ready for data science, right? So I have put some time to make some slides so that it is more structured than speaking for an hour. So I divided this webinar into the session into four different categories. One is technical readiness, essentially how good are you in data science and AI knowledge. Second one is resume preparation. So I'm not going to talk about all the general stuff in resume preparation, which you can find it in many places. I'm going to talk about specifically related to data science. And then you have the job application, again specific to data science, and then few interview tips. As time permits, we can extend that interview tips because it can take a long time. I shall reserve 15 minutes for the Q&A, but we shall also have a Q&A between these individual modules. Okay. And if you have a question which is very relevant to that particular thing I'm talking about, you can always put it on the chat box, right? If you want to speak out, let's keep that between the sessions. There won't be any break. It will be 1 hour session, right? And then I'll take Q&A. Hopefully, we should finish within an hour. Okay, let's begin. So I'll talk about technical readiness. I get a lot of questions. I mean, we hire a lot of data scientists to my company as well as I work for Fortune 100 companies in hiring data science resources. That's one of my um, ad hoc responsibilities, work I do. So we find it really challenging in the market to find someone qualified. Even with good basics is good enough for us to hire. So when you're talking about job ready, technical readiness, how good are you in data science is the most important thing. Rest of things does matter to some extent, but the most important thing is technical readiness, right? So even if you don't speak well in the interviews, it doesn't really affect much if you interviews as a knowledge. So I'll talk about few things. I'm not going to go as a training, but I'm just going to focus on few things: programming, statistics, data preparation, machine learning algorithms, deployment, and visual analytics tools. I'll go this chapter very quick because I'm going to share this PDF back into this. You can just I'll post it on the YouTube or whatever Datamites channel they send it across, so you can refer it back. I personally think anyone without knowledge, absolutely no knowledge in programming in whatsoever, can learn Python within a month very well to the extent which is required for an applied data scientist. The best resource, there are many resources. The best resource is learnpython.org. It's pretty simple, straightforward, which also has an interactive code editor. So you can just go through it. We also have a data brick and other data camp and other sources. There are many sources. I suggest learn Python. And also, if you really want to go for a book, I would suggest Python Data Science Handbook orally. I have gone through many books, and this book is really, really good, and it's specifically for data science. It costs about $1,000 in Indian rupees or some dollars if you're not in India. You can buy it from Amazon, and it's a really good book. Even you can buy the physical copy. I have it in my shelf as well. And there are numerous YouTube videos on data science Python. I have done many, and there are other people who have taken more time than me, who have created huge playlists. So 1 month, even if you're not from programming background, don't stop at only few lines of codes of Python and then jump into doing complex things. Try to focus on Python as a language itself for at least 3 weeks to 1 month, and these three things are more than enough to get to there, right? Lot many people get scared about statistics and mathematics, right? So I get this question all the time. I don't have math in my education. I'm not good in statistics. It's actually not that difficult because you're not going to be a statistician. You're going to be a data scientist. Statistics, essential statistics, is what you needed. I have a wonderful book called Naked Statistics to recommend. Charles Whelan. You can find this also in Amazon, and it's really, really good book. And it basically gives you a very in-depth statistics. If you can read this, I think you'll be very good in statistics beyond what you really need for data science or machine learning modeling. Because data scientist is not just machine learning. Data scientist is data scientist. So statistics is actually core of data science. Even without machine learning and technology, you can come up with a lot of insights. In fact, most of the insights of descriptive analytics through statistics. I also have another book for recommendation for statistics called Elements of Statistical Learning. It's a bit deep and it takes a bit. It's not for beginners, right? But if you think you want to learn more statistics, I would suggest the Elements of Statistical Learning, which is very good book. It also has another version of it. You can search for it, statistics beginning book. But this book is really good for advanced learners. In mathematics, I highly recommend Khan Academy playlist. It's in YouTube, it's free, and it's really, really good. And for I have another book as well, Mathematics for Machine Learning. It is a bit deeper, but if you really want to get into mathematics, let me tell you, you don't really need mathematics for applied data science. I can tell my own experience. I have recruited many guys in my team as a data science and machine learning professionals. Um, when we recruit, we ask mathematics questions, but after 2 3 years working in our company, they are senior machine learning experts or consultants now. They don't know any mathematics. They forget it. But my point is, you may not really need mathematics in applied machine learning or applied data science. But yes, when you're looking at transition of career, and in fact, you need to understand how this works. So mathematics is important when you're learning data science to have more confidence. Maybe you have to tweak certain things. Maybe you have to understand why this algorithm is not working as it's supposed to. Is it a problem with the data or with the? You can tweak some algorithms. Mathematics come handy. I have a separate session on mathematics. What are the things you need to learn? Essentially, probability, matrix theorem, linear algebra, a bit of derivatives for deriving the formulas and stuff. So that's good enough. So these are the good books, and that's more than enough. Again, as I said, even if you're not from mathematics background, you do not have to worry because applied data science does not really require deep understanding of mathematics. Whatever essential can be learned in few weeks. And the third one in terms of technical readiness is data preparation. So let me tell you, 80% of the work we do in delivering a machine learning projects is essentially a data preparation, right? Bringing the data from the sources, cleaning them, and then transforming them to the level that we can feed it to the machine learning models is a major. I would say 70-80% of the work is in data preparation. If you are a beginner looking for getting into a data science career, data preparation is really important. Even today, we have at least some 60 to 70 requirements for, we call it as data engineers. That's the role for it. If you want to make a note of it, you can make a note. Data engineers are in very high demand. In fact, it has become a discipline by itself, because 70-80% of your data science project is actually data preparation. We mostly work with pandas, we have dask, we have other things if the data is not big. Most of the client projects we work with Spark is very flexible, it's a big data platform. It also has a machine learning library which is really good, and it does basically you can, it's a big data science platform. We also have other things like Dask and H2O and many other frameworks. But if you know Pandas, data frame, and how you manipulate it, all the other things, including Spark, it's just a small syntactical changes, right? And you can easily get it. If you understand the Spark, if you understand the concept of data preparation, getting into other technologies is easy. So this is one of the things I want to tell you. If someone talks about technology which you haven't faced, do not worry that I don't know it, because 80% of the concepts, even the syntax, remain same. If you want to suddenly do with Java related framework or something else, you could easily do that. So pandas is core. If you master pandas, rest of things can be learned in a very short time. Data preparation also requires a bit of SQL or database knowledge, SQL or no SQL, right? That should be also something you should learn, because people tend to ask, how do you retrieve data from? It's not just they ask, it's required as a data scientist. There are a bunch of machine learning algorithms. I have put in a few things which regularly we use, like linear regression, random forest regressor, support vector machine regressor, ANN, and for classification of logistic regression for simple binary classifications, decision trees, KNNs, SVCs, and neural networks if you have more data. So these are like whatever in the slide. As I said, I'm going to share it so you don't have to make a note of this. Someone asking the same question on the chat, right? So these are the things which you have to know, not just knowing to apply it, which is actually a basic level of knowledge. You should know how these algorithms work. You don't have to really derive formulas. I don't think anyone will ask it. We never asked it, right? But you have to know conceptually how this works. It will be great if you can memorize the objective functions of these algorithms. So please Google for objective function. What does it mean? It has two components. I also made a video about it. So every algorithm you talk about has an objective function, a mathematical formula, how it fits the data. So you should be knowing conceptually. Do not stress yourself to learn every single equation. It's not required, but conceptually, yes, you should know that. And if you know that, you'll be very confident to answer how this works and all the related questions around it. That's about machine learning algorithms. And also remember, you're not really designing or creating new algorithms. I think people who are attending the session are aware of it. We are mostly applying it. Creating a new algorithm is completely a different level, and that's not what no, most of the professionals are looking at in their career. It's more PhD and research work, right? What you need to know is how to choose an algorithm, how to fine tune it with hyperparameters, how best you can get. There are a lot of techniques to do the feature engineering, and these are the things which you will be really focusing at. So, not really creating machine learning algorithms. The fifth one is model deployment. Recently, people tend to ask, have you worked in production level projects? Have you deployed the model? Is there any model you deployed which is working? I actually recommend you to deploy something in Fast API or Amazon free servers. Some models which you can show to the employees will be very impressive. There are a bunch of things like Amazon SageMaker. TensorFlow has a JavaScript JS, which is very friendly in terms of deployment, right? These tutorials are available across, and you could simply you don't have to really get master in this, but it's like you should know how models are deployed. And given an option for smaller projects, maybe you're doing your own consulting works, you should be able to deploy. And deployment is really easy. There are numerous YouTube videos, and also I think it's a part of Datamites course as well. You should learn deployment. So In production, when you're doing a live deployment, doesn't come under data science or machine learning engineers, because every company has their own deployment engineers and their own infrastructure managers and stuff like that. But they tend to ask to check your capability in terms of understanding the deployment, unrelated. So should take a look at deployment as well, though you may not be working in deployment, right? Yeah, so there's also something like Tableau or Power BI or Looker from Google. Some visual analytics tool comes handy, because being a data scientist, you're not only doing machine learning and coding, you analyze data in various different ways. Excel sheet, for example, is also a very valuable tool. Tableau is really handy, simple tool, and most companies, I think it's a market leader in US, probably also in India and other places. Tableau is good to learn, and it's not really not necessary as a data scientist when you're working with machine learning models. But Tableau, as such, gives you a lot of power to analyze the data in visualize the data in a very quick and efficient manner. And I think Tableau is also a part of Datamites course, and most tutorials include Tableau as well. So Tableau is good. So these are the six things to just to have a quick review. Programming. I said Python. You might have a question asking why not R and other things. Let me tell you, from 2018, I've been running a business of AI ML solutions to Fortune 100 companies. From 2018, 2019 till now, we didn't have any other language except Python and PySpark, and sometimes, yes, a scalar version of the Spark, but mostly Python, right? So R is more on the research levels. Some companies still use it because they started a little early, but learning R or other language is a matter of a week if you know Python, because it's the same library, same hyperparameters, so it's just a different implementation. So even if someone asks you to learn in Perls or some other completely new language, it will not take much time for you to learn if you learn in Python. So that's the six things. And of course, the last thing is practice. Technical readiness does not just come up with the concepts and strong foundation. It comes with practice. Practice, practice, practice. This have to do 20 Kaggle projects, medium to complex difficulty ones. Not by looking at the solution. A lot of people actually look into the Kaggle solutions and understand it and say, I have done the Kaggle project. No, no. You have to do it yourself from scratch, not cheating, right? So if cheating, you're cheating yourself. So try to solve Kaggle projects all by yourself. Once you're done, you're happy with your results, then compare with the ones who are on the leaderboards. Kaggle projects are really important. Don't quote Kaggle projects in your resumes, because that looks like you're really, really beginner. But Kaggle projects, let me tell you, are very important in terms of learning. Okay, so at least 20 good ones. Do it by yourself, do all the techniques you have, get the best score you can get, then refer to the leaderboard and try to compare the codes with the top performers of that particular project. Work on real world use cases. You don't have to really look for a client or someone to give you can come up with your own use cases. There are a lot many use cases, the data is available, so come up with your own use cases. Or maybe you can do some small consulting project to a retail shop, or your friends and contacts, or whoever big brother has a company, and whatever it is, right? Try to do some real world cases. And of course, if you can also take short internships, right? 1 month, 2 month internship, many companies provide it, Tractor provided, we do that, right? Many companies do that. Interns are really helpful for us. They get the job done, we pay a little money for them, and we also get to the enthusiasm, having young folks with creative ideas around. There are a lot many internships. I would say about 15,000 internship as on today in LinkedIn, if you look at it. Let me Google for it. You can Google that later, but you can just look at LinkedIn jobs. You will find so many internships, not only LinkedIn, many other places. Try to apply for short internships, right? 2 months, 3 months, 1 month, and that gives you a really hands-on client project experience. Without that, do not call yourself as technically ready. These are the things you must complete to even think about applying for a job. I think that completes your first module. Open to take questions. There are some questions. Jasir is asking that can you mention the books in chat? These books you can just I'm going to share the presentation so you can see the title and the author. You can find it in Amazon. No need to put it on the chat box. Venkat Lavanya is asking, so when will be the mathematics session? As I said, in within the there is no such thing called as mathematics session. We are not going to teach you derivatives and linear algebra, and they're all very basic. When linear regression happens, in the same time we talk about this y is equal to mx plus c. That's the knowledge good enough for you. If you want to extend your mathematical knowledge, I mean, I don't mind taking a session on that, but that's not really required. And the books I mentioned, if you read it, you are already very good with mathematics. I did some mathematics on YouTube. Let me find that videos to you. I have another question from Anaga Kulkarni. Which are free cloud platforms? Most of the cloud platforms provide a free server. Like Amazon AWS has a free tier for 1 year. Azure provides it. Google Cloud provides it. Just look for it. Okay, so I have 5 minutes for you to take questions. Someone put the question in Q&A. Let me check that. Okay, Shivendran just said yes, so it's not a question. Okay, please use Q&A to ask questions. When you want to say yes or response, you just put it on the chat box. Oh, I have a big text from Sonali. She is already a Datamites student, completed BTech. Okay. Oh, let's take this. These questions, I understand career gap, and let's see this question at the end. Anything specific to the technical readiness? So, like, let's take the general questions about your specific profiles at the end of the session. We have 15 minutes for that. Okay, I'm already touching 3:30 now. So, no specific technical questions. Let's move on. Thank you. Resume preparation. So this is something which most people, even though they are very good at technical readiness, they are strong, they miss out something. You might hear this thing saying that I don't get job calls, right? And there are people who are getting jobs, hundreds, thousands of them on a weekly basis in Bangalore. I know the volume of hiring, but some people don't get job calls in spite of they actually have a strong profile. That's because the resume is not up to the mark. Okay. So let's talk about what can you do about the resume. Of course, you cannot state something which is not you are. Like you cannot have a fake information on your resume saying that I worked in 3 years or 2 years if you are not. That's not the intention. How do you take best advantage of your profile? Very important thing in resume when you're applying for a job is keywords. When you look at any job postings, let's say you go to a LinkedIn and sorry, um, so LinkedIn and say let's go to my jobs and say data science jobs, data science India. I guess about 20,000 jobs normally you have, so 20,500. So these are jobs. If you look at number of opportunities, roughly let's say average of 5 per posting, about a lakh in LinkedIn alone, right? If you just scroll down, just find something which is more like data scientists. There are I mean, there are principal and there are very high level jobs like directors and stuff like that, lead and all. Let's find something. Yeah, there's a manager, but that's three, which is a third level, which is again a very senior level. If you find any job, I'm going to just take any job. Data scientist, I think this is okay. Magnex software, I don't know what is that. It came back. Okay, so data science manager, but manager, right? So you don't find many technical things. So when you look at it, you have must haves. I mean, they have a bachelor, doctor, so you don't have to worry about it. Let's see it from a technical front. It's a managerial role. I don't see much. Let's look at this. They did not put much of this thing. Senior manager, let's say data science, data wave. Again, pay range is not available. So they're talking about computer vision, natural language processing, deep learning to solve. So this is more a deep learning related jobs. Look for the specific keywords. Sometimes you find data preparation. Sometimes you find, machine learning. Sometimes you say it's a big data, Spark related, ETL pipelines. These are the keywords. Did I mention something here like this? So when you're applying for a job, first of all, make sure that you're eligible for it. And second, try to get the exact phrase and keyword in your resume. This means you can copy paste it, right? Maybe you have written something else. Let's say you have written sklearn and I don't know something, and they're asking for specifically random forest. Of course, if you know machine learning algorithms, random forest is of course a part of it. You imply it, but you should be specific, explicit about it. So copy paste the keywords from the job descriptions in your resume, because as you know, the first level of filtering happens through ATS, application tracking systems. Most of these systems actually do a keyword density matching, right? So it will show you, we use ATS as well. So it will show you top 100 or top 50 people which are matching with the job description. How it does it, it literally takes the keyword by keyword and matches in your resume what you uploaded, right? And that's really really important. Someone says I'm not getting a job calls is essentially because they're not doing a proper keyword thing on their resumes. So that's the first thing. And the second, this is again most often people write things in a chronological order, which is good. It's easy to understand who you are as a person. But if I'm a recruiter, I'm looking at your resume, I'm a hiring manager, right? I want to see what are the things relevant you have done to my requirement. Like I have a client, I'm doing something with a machine learning classification model, I have a lot of data. So I'll be looking at what is relevant for me. If it is hard to find what is relevant for me, then I probably might pass your resume. I think it's not relevant for me, right? So it doesn't have to be always in chronological order. So what I meant to say, let's say you have done something with related to data preparation 6 years ago, and then you worked in completely different domain, right? And then you did maybe 1 year into data scientist. So put this 1 year data scientist first, and put 6 years before experience next, and then put the rest of the things below that. That's what I meant when I say relevant and important first. It's also equally important not to mention irrelevant things, right? Let's say you have done something which is not relevant to data science. You did organic farming in 3 years because you are a big fan of organic farmings and stuff, right? It's good, I we appreciate that. But if you're writing a paragraph of organic farming in your resume at the top, that's not really machine learning resume, right? It's organic farmers resume. So if it is not relevant, please don't put it, right? If it is something related to software, let's say you've been a Java architect for 15 years, right? This is relevant because you've been an architect, which means you also bring that software architecture knowledge. So in those cases, keep it brief. So you've been a Java architect for 15 years, worked in different framework of Java. It's good enough. Most people understand that. You don't have to talk about details about the projects and how good are you in Java. Then you become a Java resource, not a data science and machine learning. So it's equally important not to mention irrelevant things as it is important to mention relevant and important things. All right. So well, academics keep it brief. I see a lot of people giving their percentage scores in decimals. You only do it if you have, let's say, 90 plus percentage and you are top in certain aspects. If not, you don't need to mention it, right? You just have to keep the academics brief, your college, maybe a year you passed out, and what's your specialization. That's all. Giving scores is not really required unless you wanted to do it for a reason that you have a great score. Okay. And next, okay, highlight the technical skills. And this is the opportunity for you to put the right keywords you've taken from your job description into your resume. When we look at the resumes, we look at, okay, where do I find the skills to see which is matching to our requirement. If you put a section called technical skills and specify the skills and your expertise in it in a 5 star or 4 star or some kind of rating scale, like shown in the screen, that will be amazing. I mean, it will make our life very easy. And also you're showing that you are able to present the data which is required for me to analyze your resume in a proper manner. That's one of the basic basic skill of a data scientist, presenting the data in an insightful manner. So technical skills, highlight it. And this is also an opportunity for you to put the keywords you got from the job description here in the technical skills, And of course, don't put things which you don't know. If you think you can actually manage to learn in few days, put it, no problem, because that will really help us. Okay, my Mac is dying. Let me just get the charger. Just a minute. Okay, back on. So that's important to mention, highlight and technical skills. Also mention the keywords. You can also mention conferences, events you attended. That actually gives you more, more more good impression about you, that you've been looking out for conference. You're attending conferences. You update yourself with the technology, and you're being very good at learning things and also networking. So mentioning the conferences and event you attended, even if it's virtual, I understand mostly it is virtual because of this pandemic. That's actually helps. Provide project details. So what do you mean by that? Well, if you if you look at the details mentioned over there, they are very, we follow a star methodology to put your details, but that can be a different session. You can Google for it. You have to mention what you've done in the project, your contribution, not the project, right? A lot of people write about the projects in detail and they fail to mention what they have done in the project. They're assuming that whatever written is done by them, but that's not the way we pursue, or anyone who reads pursue. So it will be very vague if you write what is this project. You might have a small project description at the top, as you can see here, if you can see that, and then you write what's your role in that project and what you contributed, and that's the place where you highlight your achievements, your learnings, your area of working, maybe also the keywords which you want to highlight from your job description, right? And it's fine if it runs into several pages, because you're going to put it as a project annexer. If you look back, the first one is the first one is this one. So you just mention the projects on a high level here in experience, and then you okay, you mention in a high level, then you put it in detail. Even if it's few pages, that is perfectly fine. In fact, that's something we really look at, because we look at what is that you have done, and you can derive inferences whether it is useful for our projects. LinkedIn profile. I put this as I mean, it's basically a LinkedIn profile. Most people have it. I put it exclusively because nowadays LinkedIn profile is actually gaining a lot of trust in the market. Right? You can write whatever you want in your resume, but LinkedIn profile is a public profile. It's a professional networking site. So if you build your LinkedIn profile good, and you have to network for it, and you have to have right recommendations, build an impressive LinkedIn profile and put it there. It definitely adds value in your in your job readiness. Okay, so that's your second second area, resume preparation. Any questions on this? Any particular questions related to resume preparation? Vishnu has a question: get hired for data science in company also in India because non-coding background usually filter the application. So what's your opinion? Do BBA graduates? So your graduation doesn't really matter. Any degree is fine. You should mention some coding related things, that you have done this project, that project. So simple answer, Vishnu, graduation. You actually, I think last week one person from Datamites got a job in Capgemini. Santosh Sahu is his name. He's from a biology background, has nothing to do with coding at all. He joined in December last year, and he got placed last week in Capgemini in Bangalore. And there is also a video on YouTube regarding that. So simple answer, your background doesn't matter. And I have a question from Madhu. I have a master's in physics and computer science. Yes, of course. As I said already, you have a degree in computer science, but you, even if you don't have, it matter. If you have, it's definitely a plus. Yes, Madhu. Whoever putting in the YouTube, I would take it at the last of this session. Apologies for that. Or maybe Farzana, if you can help, if any relevant question in YouTube chat, you can just copy paste it in this so that I can answer that. I It's
Yeah.
difficult to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
I have questions from Santosh. Oh, okay. Santosh Shahu has a question. He is the one I was talking just now. Um, so he is actually so hyperparameter tuning is sometimes decrease the model performance instead of hyperparameter tuning. We can use other technique. Well, hyperparameter tuning does not add significant, as I understand. For example, random forest does most of things by itself. It's a feature engineering which actually matter, right? Transformation of your data, and that's what, like selecting right features and other things which matter more than hyperparameter tuning. Saurabh has a question. Is there okay? So there is no response regarding IBM certificate. Yeah, I think Datamites stopped IBM certificate because 90% people don't take it, and IBM certificates are actually available free in the market. This is not a relevant question for this, but you can actually get IBM certificate. You can just ping, send it to me. I'll get an IBM certificate for you. It's actually coming free in the market nowadays. Is one of the reason Datamites stopped it, because why someone pays for the certificate if it's free in the market? So whatever thing you need, you can just send it, you get the certificate, no problem. Anonymous attendee, should we prepare a separate resume for different jobs? Yes, that's a very good question. So not separate resume, the same resume, you fine tune the keywords based on the job description, right? And maybe shuffle your experience, write it, word it differently so that it gets attention. So yeah, you have to fine tune it, not different, but yeah, you have to fine tune for different jobs. John has a question. What all languages to be added in our resumes after? Python is good enough. I don't have to really add anything else to my experience, right? If you know something, you feel free to add, but you don't have to really put extra effort to learn or other languages to add. John. Venkatesh has a question. So it starts with but every job they're asking for statistics background. I don't know what and where you're coming from. I hired close to 70 members this year. I did not ask for statistics background, and I also hired for many Fortune 100 companies. Um, Also, I just said last week one of our participant placed in Capgemini. He has a biology background, not statistics. Okay. Kiran, as we add multiple internship projects in resume, it's relevant. Yeah, if you have more internship, it's actually good. Vaibhav has a question. What if I'm a fresher, have no experience, just few projects and certificates? See, no experience. The experience doesn't mean that you have to work for an MNC. Experience means that you have done projects, either an internship or your own projects or significant practice and contribution. Vaibhav. So I guess your experience, you're referring to a job, MNC job. That's not true. Well, of course, if someone has absolutely not haven't done anything which is productive, yeah, I won't be hiring as well. But you don't have to work for an MNC for experience. You can do a lot many projects in a many other ways. Internship is one of them, of course. I have a question. How to accommodate mechanical experience in resume? You just mention it as mechanical if you have relevant experience in mechanical. In fact, if manufacturing, mechanical, automobiles have a lot of requirements in machine learning, they would prefer a person from mechanical background because it is relevant for them, right? They understand the core as well. So yes, you can just mention it as it is. It doesn't require any specific changes in that. I have lot many questions coming in. Akshay has a question. I have done graduation in 2017, totally non-programming background. So how should I put data in resume? I don't have any work experience. As I said before, you don't have to have an MNC work experience. You can do start doing projects by yourself, find internships or do some live projects and keep it as an experience. Without experience, honestly, at least 6 months of your own practice or some small projects, many people hesitate to actually take your resume because obviously you haven't worked with projects that is difficult. It'll take you take time to actually um, get productive. Mahalakshmi has a question: how to prepare resume with irrelevant field? I'm a teacher. I can remember at least more than 20 people from teaching background transition to data science who I have mentored myself. I can give the references. Bina is one of the lady. I think she is also in the Datamites website as a feedback, something like that, right? But teachers actually move very quickly because they're academic, right? So I can share you the resume template. And if you want further, ping me in the LinkedIn. In LinkedIn, I'm just gonna type my LinkedIn here. So any questions which I say that connect with me later, please go ahead and ping me on the LinkedIn. Drop me a connect message first, of course, and then ping me on the LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to help. All right, thank you. Ajay has a question. People with 14 years and above experience, what's the best role they can target for the data science and ML? Uh, Again, if you go to LinkedIn, just select something which is like seniors, director levels. You see a lot many jobs. I mean, it's not like it's only for the freshers or who are joining. Just click mid senior and director executive levels. Mid senior is actually 15, 14 years experience. You have 5,600 postings, and maybe three jobs on average will go to 15,000 jobs as on today. Read it and apply it accordingly. So we need all kinds of people, techno functional management, also heading the data science, and who should have significant experience. Okay, so I'm gonna stop questions now. I have a commerce background. Yes, you can apply. Sonal has a question. Career gap. You can simply show the career gap with the proper reason, and then maybe last 6 months you just put it. I have completed MSc Statistics. Okay, I'm a fresher. Yeah, freshers of, I mean, let me tell you, more than 50% hires happening from fresher. But when you say fresher, don't say I haven't worked in projects, right? You can work in project by yourself, right? That's what I tend to mention all the time. I can help you with that as well. You can just get in touch with me. There are so many people looking for interns, and now if you want to work without paid, there are so many opportunities for you. I suggest take it. Few months, 1 or 2 months, work in a company without pay, absolutely no problem, because you're learning and you can use that learning to get into a dream job of yours. There is no age limit. Shivendra says, I have participants who are 65 years old. I also trained people who are 17 years old from US. I remember his name, Krish. I also have very senior people retired. They want to do data science consulting, some research, soil research. They also learn data science. So there is no age limit. Okay, so that's about your second module. Sorry if I have more question, I'll take it at the end. Let's go to the third one, job strategy. We are close to 1 hour now, so I have to make it fast. For job application strategy, the very important thing people miss out, they think data science is like one job. It is not. As you can see in the screen, actually it takes more time for me to explain each and every role, which I might do it in other sessions. There are multiple different roles. Data engineer is the one which gets a lot of jobs nowadays. So most of the hiring, let's say 60% of what you see in the market is actually data engineers. But you have delivery managers. Someone who asked 14 years experience could be a delivery manager. If you're an architect in let's say you're from a BI background, so you can think more in a data analyst kind of roles. You can think about data architects if you're from a technical architecture background. If you're a pure process guy or a MBA or someone, you can still be a part of it as a visual analyst or process consultants. There are many jobs, right? And of course, there's a job called as data scientist, who is more like a generalist, does everything to end to end. Also, a machine learning engineer. There should be a machine learning engineer somewhere. Okay, there should be a machine learning ML engineer here somewhere, which is not mentioned. Uh, Data engineers also include big data things. So you have to first of all come up with which role is right for you. It might require a bit of counseling from someone who knows it, but you can also understand from your own background, right? So for a beginner data engineer or a junior data scientist or even a data scientist doing this data engineering stuff or relevant profile. Someone who is very senior, 15, 20 years experience, look for data architects, delivery managers, even data scientists, a head of data scientist, AVP or vice president, or all of these roles are relevant for you. Business leaders or the people who have a director and AVP kind of roles. First, you need to identify which role you wanted to actually apply from your capability. So Jasir has a question. Okay, so no, sorry. I'll take the questions at the end. Sorry. And then you fine tune your resume. As I said before, every single job you apply, you have to fine tune your resume with the right keywords. Otherwise, if you're shooting 100 or 200 resumes a day in all kinds of portal, you may not receive a single response because you're shooting some generic resumes with generic keywords. You might be lucky getting some response and even get a job, but that's not the standard way of doing things. The standard way of doing things, fine tune your resume, for every single job. Research on it, find the match, like first of all analyze and convince that it's the kind of job you want to work and that your capability fits that particular position. Then fine tune your resume with the right keywords, then apply. If you do this, you may not be able to apply more than five to maybe maximum six or seven, not more than that. See, one resume understanding fine tuning takes 30 minutes at least. So if you are doing it, even if you spend 3 to 4 hours a day, you are applying six, seven jobs a day. That's all, right? If someone says I applied for 1,000 jobs last week, I did not get any response. Of course, you don't get any response because you're doing some generic resume shooting, like a blind person. So you will not hit the target. So fine tune your resume for every single job, research on the job, ensure that you fit for the job description as well as you like the job, and then you start applying. So research and apply, I already said that. So don't shoot blindly hundreds of resumes a day. Try to spend time, understand it, and then apply for it. There are multiple job portals: LinkedIn, Naukri in India, Monster in US, Monster Board in US, and many other form, right? But do not miss out also company pages. Let's say you want to work for TCS, I don't know, Google, Facebook, maybe Capgemini, Robert Bosch, if you're from mechanical, right? You might have a list of 10, 15, 20 companies who are your dream companies. You would like to work for those companies. Watch their opportunities page. Sometimes those opportunities does not pop up in LinkedIn. As I showed you, LinkedIn has about 20,000 jobs. How much time you take to actually go through these 20,000 jobs? Just think about it. You cannot really browse through 20,000 jobs and read the things and analyze it. It's not possible. The best way is to come up with a list of companies, which you like to apply, and maybe their competitors as well, because they'll be relevant as well. And then watch their opportunities, open opportunities page. And that's where you have a higher chance of getting into it. Someone coming to the job portal, applying from the open opportunities, is considered more relevant or more interested because you're doing more research than someone applies from a generic job portal. So please don't miss the opportunities page of your target companies. Fourth one, follow up. Not many people do this. They apply and then just then maybe they go for temple for applying again for God, which is also important because when you call something lucky, maybe that's a factor. But that's not the only one. You should follow up. Like when you apply for something, keep a track of it. If you don't keep a track of the jobs you're applying, you cannot follow up. As simple as that. Keep a track of it, simple Excel sheet. And then after 3 days, if you have a hiring manager email or some way, you can ping them, say, hey, I applied for this job 3 days before, can I know the status? So let me tell you, in my own experience, couple of people I even hired which were not selected the first round because they followed up. When someone follows up, we look back to that and say, hey, you know what? Someone reached out us saying that what is my status? If it is not come under our first filtering, it get blocked or it got rejected, we go back again and check it, right? I have done it, many people do it because someone keeps a track of it, follows up, or very interested to join our company, and maybe they also have a very relevant capabilities, somehow got rejected with our automated system. So following up gives you a very good impression and it significantly increases the chances of getting hired. Do follow. And network for references. So network, as I say in the first sign, practice in the job. Applying and getting the right job references, networking is really important. Check with your colleagues, your friends who are already got a job. Your big brother has many people working in big companies, your own professors, and maybe a open network like LinkedIn. Keep networking, attend events, network. This will actually get the right references. So let me tell you, in Europe, where I work predominantly about more than 8 years, most of the jobs comes from references. I would say more than 50, 60 jobs come from references. I joined Logica as a management consultant and then project manager through a reference who was my classmate in my MBA college in University of Amsterdam, right? I see this is not very popular in India. I mean, we do the networking for lateral entries, more than 10 years. That's there. But let me tell you, even at all the levels, any levels, networking is really important. People miss this out, right? So please network Gently get in touch with people who are relevant, who can help you or who can refer you. That immensely helps you to get a right job, a dream job you want to get into. So those are the things, five things you need to keep in terms of job strategy: identify your role, fine tune your resume, research and apply, look at the company job portals along with other things, follow up, and is it five or more? Okay, follow up, and do the networking. I made this PPT in like 1 hour, so many things are not in place. The fourth area, you have any questions in this application? Job application strategy. I have two questions in Q&A. I'll take that before I move forward to the last module. It's already 1 hour now. So again, Athira says he has 2 years experience, 5 years career gap. I think I answered it. So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. A lot of people comes with gaps. We don't mind it. We only see what you're capable of. Um, Testing manual is relevant. Yes. Santosh Ahu says supervised machine learning is important. Not sure recommendation techniques. Yeah, it's not very important unless you're working for a retail company. They might look for that experience, like Amazon and Flipkart and companies like that. Okay, so let's talk about the last one, data science interview tip. Again, this is a really big topic. I put it at the last. Um, Maybe I have to make another session for it. But I'll have some things like I put some few points. Get the definitions right. So you have to know what is data science. People might ask you like, can you explain what is data science? Of course, you know it. You've been working on it for like, I don't know, 6 months to 1 year. But if you cannot articulate it nicely, like insights from data, it's a very simple articulation. Or you can also say it's a field where it uses statistics, mathematics, programming, and machine learning for predictive analytics to get insights from data, which could be used for your business decision. It doesn't need to be a very nice definition, but you should speak out and give a good answer. If you're just stuck like that, what is data science? That's not good. So get your definitions right. Data science, machine learning, AI, big data, business analytics. You have a bunch of keywords. You can Google for it. Just read it, and if you require to memorize, I don't recommend to memorize, but if you really have to make your own definition and just memorize it, do it, because you don't want to get stuck in the interviews with a simple definition. That damages your confidence, right? Also gives a bad impression overall. Second, keep your answers relevant to the point. I see all the time. I take interviews like many a day. That's my one of the regular work. I see a lot of people, if they don't know the answer, they beat the bush around. I mean, they keep talking about other things which are not relevant. Of course, we know that you don't know the answer. That's why you're talking about it. It also irritates us, and also it doesn't give you a good feeling. So if you, another thing, even if you know the answer, people give a very big answer, very comprehensive, and you don't have time for testing other areas, and also we have to interrupt saying, you know what, that's enough, thank you, kinds. So keep your answer relevant and to the point, right? And if they ask you to expand it, then you expand it, but don't try to give a big answer at the first time. That's very important. A lot of people also, I don't know, I've seen in somewhere saying there's a technique that if you have a good answer, try to consume all the time of the interviewer. Please don't do that. If you know the answer, even if you know the answer very good, try to keep it relevant to the point. Because let's say we have 30 minutes to evaluate you in interviews. I don't want to waste the time with a big answer of yours. As simple as that. If you know the answer, if you can say it in a short, we already know that. And killing the time so that you avoid a difficult question is a very bad strategy. Please don't do that. Third one, if you don't know the answer, as I said, admit it, but also demonstrate that you can learn it fast. Saying that, yeah, I don't know about this package before, but I got an opportunity to work in the project. It took me a week to learn it, so I'm a fast learner. So you admit that you don't know the answer. Also demonstrate that with an example, mostly to show that you are capable of learning things faster. Justify your experience with projects. Whenever you say I worked in here, I worked in this project, worked in here in this technology, also talk about the project and details in it, what you have done and what are the challenges you faced. That gives you more trustable and more detailed answer, so that we kind of can relate to you to understand whether you have done things which we wanted. Also gives you good impression that you have an hands-on experience. The fifth point, watch it for tricky questions like, what's your favorite algorithm? It's my Like favorite algorithm, I don't know. I mean, I like all the algorithms. Many people try to answer it saying a complex algorithm, let's say ResNet, or maybe a deep learning algorithm, right? What happens is when you say a very complex one, then people tend to ask, give me details. I mean, they go to details. Oh, your favorite algorithm, explain how it works. Then you have stuck, right? You just caught yourself in a place where you cannot answer, right? But at the same time, if you take a very simple algorithms like linear regression, it looks really basic, right? That doesn't give you a good impression. So it's a tricky question. The idea is not to find out what's your favorite algorithm. Idea is to understand you have a good knowledge and you're confident in what's speaking. I would say random forest. Normally, if someone asks what's your favorite algorithm, I would say random forest. Simple reason: it's a fast algorithm, very accurate, does not require much of data cleaning. It does not require even a hyperparameter fine tuning. It comes up with a very quick, very decent score without any default parameters, right? And it is yeah, it's really fast. It can handle big data, right? So random forest is my favorite algorithm. I use it as a litmus test. Like if you want to see whether a data has a pattern, yes or no, I use random forest. This is a good answer. Your favorite algorithm doesn't need to be the most accurate algorithm, complex algorithm, right? It has to be your favorite for some reason. For me, random forest is very handy. That's why it's favorite. Okay, you can even copy this answer. Always provide project references to your answers. I think I already mentioned it. It's a repetition, but any answer you say in general, try to say that, oh, a project reference or a work reference. Okay, so I think I have taken more than an hour. We are on the time. I can talk about many interview questions. In fact, I have uploaded many things in YouTube as well. Maybe I'll do a separate session for it. For now, this is good enough. If you follow these things, I think you should be good for gearing yourself to a job ready status. I can take questions now. Mohammed has a question. Sales data analyst play a lot of. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course you can, Mohammed. Open to questions.
So there are some questions in YouTube too.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Dilip Reddy has asked, can we prepare two resumes for single persons? Many has that doubt.
Okay, you can. Sorry, what were you saying?
Can we prepare two resumes for single person? That is multiple resumes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Variations of it. Don't twist the fact. Like, I have studied MBA in Harvard University, and another one, I say I'm a graduate in, I don't know, some other college in India. So so don't twist the facts. You can have different flavors of your resume, which is targeted to a certain job roles. Yes, of course. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Next question is Dipankar Medi. I have got few personal projects but have not done any internships. Can I get a job in data science?
Yeah, personal projects, you can say it as an entrepreneur, or you're doing it for yourself. Or so personal projects for doing for hobby may not be really relevant for the job discussion. If you do it for, let's say, for your own business or some other business, if there is a what you've done to add value to any business, may it be a small shop at the end of your street, it still considers to be a valid experience. So yes, personal projects, if it has a business value for any business, you can quote it, of course.
Okay, sir, that's great. Next, Nitish has the question. As a fresher under analytics domain, how can we able to categorize the good project for demonstration in data science?
Okay, so I'll tell you what is not a good project. Titanic. Heard about it? In Kaggle, it's one of the top one. House price prediction. Please do not put these projects. All right. So you can put any classification projects. It could be something like your you're developing an algorithm for automobile shop for understanding the pricing, or all of this. Any classification regression models you develop for a business is good enough, right? Just
Yeah.
don't put the highly abused, or not abused, highly used projects like Titanic and stuff, because that's only for learning. So if you put that, then we have yeah, you look like very junior.
Yeah. Next, Dilip has a question. Teaching experience can be added in resumes.
Yep, definitely yes. We value teaching experience a lot.
Next, I pass on to next. Jitendra Mishra has a question. I have 14 years of experience in accounts department. So can I do data science
Of course,
as of now?
accounts means you are very good with data. So data science is very relevant. Yes, of
Next,
course.
Daniel has a question. Having 18 years experience in delivery and program management in telecom, what is the scope in data science and AI?
Delivery manager. So you should think about delivery manager levels in a data science project. So you have been working in telecom. So telecom is already using so many use cases in machine learning. So with your delivery manager telecom experience, you learn data science machine learning, get your hands dirty, and you can manage the projects better. So I would say learn data science, get your hands dirty, be competent in data science, then apply for managerial roles, project manager, delivery manager kind of roles in telecom industry. That will be very relevant. You can also switch industry, no problem with that. But if you stay in telecom, maybe you have more opportunities and you get job a bit easy.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you. That's it, sir. That's it.
Thank you. I have some questions here in Q&A.
Yeah.
As a question, I'll get a PPT. Yeah, you get a PDF version of this slide. After this, I'll just take a copy and share it across to the people. I'll do that. Sonali has a question. Sir, you said my answer is last. I'm really puzzled with the career gap. Okay. I have a lot of references who have career gap, and you can bluntly put the career gap. And what I suggest is have 6 months to last 6 months experience in the data science, or maybe you join an internship. You can just ping me on the LinkedIn. We might provide you an opportunity based on your competence. Learn first, do an internship. Even your learning can be considered as your experience in data science. Have 6 months to 8 months experience and then start applying. Okay, and your career gap does not matter because I have seen many people with long career gaps switched to data science. So no issues. Vishnu has a question. After data science course, can I apply for data analyst? Yes, of course. Data science is a very generic course. You can do better job as data analyst being a data scientist, a certified data scientist. I have Ali asking, I'm a BCA final year. Would it be go for? Yeah, of course. I highly recommend people who are doing graduation to start it as early as possible because you don't have to wait till your graduation, right? You can have a decent percentage, maybe 60, 70% in your graduation. Put focus from second year itself in data science so that before you come out, you are well qualified technically, technical readiness. So you can get into the job market quicker. Answer is yes, Ali. Sai Kalyan has a question. In real life scenario, how we can apply academic skills to data science, academic background in finance, academic skills. Yeah, see, and you have, I don't know, you might be knowing this. The training business is $300 billion across the world. So that's edtech companies are really big. You could be part of a program manager or content manager and stay academic within data science, for which you need a data science skills and you can stay academic because training data science professionals for next 5 years itself is a huge market. And if you don't want to stay as academic, you just switch to fintech companies like PayPal or Razorpay. I think that's good ones for you to start joining. Yuvraj, TensorFlow is included in your AI expert. You don't need TensorFlow in machine learning deployment. For definitely for Keras, for deep learning and computer vision, yes. So if you opt for AI expert, which is a next level course, Yuvraj, you get TensorFlow as one of the starting modules. Vishnu as a question. If interviewer asks, what do you think BBA relevance in data science? You say that my friend is a biology graduate. He is working as a data scientist in Capgemini. Santosh Ahu reference. But I also have at least hundreds of references who are not from this. Just think about it. Data science itself is a new field. We need I don't know, 30 million people, right? Most people coming from are from various different areas, not just computer science. In fact, computer science is not even required for being a data scientist. Data scientist is more business oriented. Of course, you learn a bit of programming and machine learning and stuff, but ultimately you are using your skills to deliver value to business, which could be your core area, mechanical or whatever business or whatever area you are. Okay, so that's 15 minutes. Any final questions, please? Cover letter. Cover letter is something Venkatesh is asking. What is cover letter? It's a very general question. Cover letter is something you write to your recruiter, talking about yourself, what you have accomplished, and how, why you would like to join this job, this role. Right? That's cover letter. You don't need cover letter nowadays, but someone asks it. It's just a kind of quick summary of yours and your relevance to the job. I think Fazana, that's it.
Yes, sir, that's it. We have covered all the questions.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, Ashok sir, for answering all the questions. It was pleasure to have you with us. I hope the session was very useful and informative for all the participants. Thank you for all attending. Thank you, Ashok sir.
Sure, I'm still answering questions in here. Thank you very much. And as I said, you can always ping me on the LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to help you. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.